how do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
The evening started with 48 runs in the first 3 overs, 79 in the power play. It's ended with 3 wickets in the last over. In between, so much has happened. KKR finished with 204 for 9 after being asked to bat by Delhi at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi. We unpack the first innings of match number 48 on Maruti Suzuki Arena. Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. We have the continuing company of Daren, Ganga, Ambati Rayudu, Wasim, Jaffer. Gentlemen, KKR overshooting our predictions in the 180 to 190 range. But Wasim, thoughts on the score eventually, on what looked like the best batting surface in Delhi so far?
Yeah, I think so. I think it played really well. And KKR, I think, will be happy as well with their recent batting performances. I think they'll take it, what the scores they have posted, even though they'll feel like they could have got 210, 215. I think both teams will be happy, considering where KKR were at one stage after 12 or 13 overs. It looked like they'll get 215, 220. So I think DC will be happy as well. So both camp will feel like they've done well.
At 79 for 1 in the power play, surely KKR were aiming for a lot more. Thoughts on the overall score, and have they fallen short?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in hindsight, you would say 15-20 runs more KKR would have been happier with. But they will take it because Delhi wicket can play slightly low and slow, and especially on a pitch like that, a black soil pitch which is skidding through. If a little bit of dew comes, it can keep a little low. So I think they'll be quite happy with the score.
Let's go to that start of the game. Delhi clearly had a plan. They only wanted to use pace, which was contrary to what they'd done in recent games. Was it the right move? Should they have done something different in the power play?
I mean, in hindsight, you can say yes. Maybe an Aksa Patel trying 1 over in that first 6 to see how things went. But you must give credit to the way KKR batted. Narayan and Gurbaz, I think their highest opening partnership this season. And again, it just shows that if they dominate that first phase, less pressure on the middle. And this time, the middle was able to score, 10 and a half in that 9 overs through that middle phase. So, I mean, there are so many things you could look at, but I think one of the sort of most important things coming out from this first half of the game is what you just mentioned. The pitch is a much better pitch for batting. Not a lot of turn on offer there. So that's why I feel it was imperative for KKR to get the extra 10, 15 runs, because they've relied heavily on their spinners through that middle phase to control the innings, to get wickets. Their seamers, they've been a little bit expensive. So sometimes you have to balance the department. So, yes, good score. Very good showing with the bat. Again, Russell only facing 9 balls. That, to me, is a perennial issue in this side. I'd really like to see him coming around the 12th, 13th over. I mean, I have had numerous conversations with him back in the Caribbean in T20 cricket, and his ideal position coming into an innings in T20 cricket with the bat is 12th, 13th over. So that is another food for thought.
Since you've brought up Russell, there's also the added layer of Robin Powell, who we've seen for West Indies, bats 4, 5, 6. He's someone who operates more in the middle overs. He's coming in right at the end. It's not necessarily known as a finisher. That's another resource not best utilized.
Yeah, and it's the point that we were making earlier, that when you have both of them playing in a side, they can't come after each other. Russell came in on the 17th over, I think Powell in the 18th over. That's only 3 overs to play with 2 guys who are match winners with the bat. So you're kind of putting aside 2 guys who can bat you into an unassailable position. So especially when you're going through a little rot, you're struggling at the top, I feel you need to maximize your resources a little bit better.
If we go back to that power play, and who knows, the 79 could be the difference eventually, even as much as Delhi may have reined things back towards the end. Did you feel Delhi were too rigid with the ploy to only use pace, especially after the first 3 overs had gone for 48?
I think so. They came with a set plan, and that's exactly what happens when Narayan opens. You can't give him spin because he could, tear you apart. But I think, DC pulled things back after the power play. They got back-to-back wickets, and they certainly, with how Akshar bowled and even Vipraj Nigam bowled. So that is something which KKR will feel positive about. The spinners picking up wickets. They've got 3 spinners. Don't know if Akshar, how badly his injury is. If he doesn't bat, you've got Anukul Roy to bowl to most of the right-handers. So they've got 3 really good spinners. So that is something which will be a bit of positive for KKR.
Both Aksar and Vipraj eventually came on after the power play to instant impact. Vipraj getting Sunil Narayan. Aksar followed up with a wicket of his in his first over as well. And Aksar had the last two games where he'd had really successful power play outings. One of them against an RCB side where he got two left-handers in the same over. Would you have wanted him to use himself in the power play after seeing what happened?
Yeah, I think definitely for an over at least because they were going after pace and you needed to slow things down not only time wise but also in terms of giving pace to the batsmen. I felt they missed a little trick there, but eventually we have seen Kuldeep not finishing his overs as well. That is quite strange because you wanted wickets through the middle. But one thing we have noticed is whenever people have used their feet against Kuldeep, he has struggled a little bit. We have seen Rinku Singh do that of back-to-back balls. So sometimes he does struggle when people use their feet against him. But eventually I feel, as Wasim bhai said, both of them will be happy with what has happened in the first innings.
I do want to ask whether you all think Akshar Patel, and we've noticed this in a few games, he bowled himself out before Puran came into bat in the reverse fixture against Lucknow. He didn't bowl himself when Puran was batting in the first game. We've seen other instances of him being reluctant to bowl to certain left-handers. Do you come to expect that from a bowler who's established himself, who's a T20 World Cup winner, who's done a lot more and proven himself in front of left-handed batters too?
I think he got Venkatesh Iyer out today. That was the period.
Which is all the more, excuse me, which is all the more reason I ask.
Yeah.
When Sunil Narayan has got off to the kind of start he has, should he be backing himself a little more?
I think so. I think he should have used at least 1 over himself, considering in the last game he got 2 wickets of the left-handers. He brought himself on because that was the time where the game could have gone had Venki Iyer got hold of him in that over. But he picked up that wicket, brought DC into the game. So I think against Nicholas Puran you would understand because Puran is a different beast altogether. But I think against all the other batters he should back himself.
Yeah, I also think that, what is important to also analyze very early is what is the surface offering. And if the surface was offering maybe a little more turn, I feel that might have prompted him to bowl in that power play phase. Having said that, I feel there are times when as a captain, you're also between a rock and a hard place with you putting yourself as an option as against using the other available options in that side. Chimera, he's been brought in recently to join this DC side. So, of course, his USP is bowling in that first phase and in the last phase. So he's given opportunity too, and I just feel that, at times you have to be a little more determined, as you mentioned, take the bull by the horns, use your confidence, back yourself. I feel we overread sometimes this matchup with, ball spinning away from a batter's outside edge. We can also, I think, as bowlers, trouble batters with the ball turning, inside and beating the inside edge as well. So I just feel that at times captains could be a little more enterprising and use that option.
Saw a prominent example of that just last night when Sai Kishore, who's been one of GT's best bowlers, did not bowl all through that Suryavanshi Jaiswal assault. Aksar, especially considering he also has the layer of having been a good controlling bowler in the power play for India, for other teams in the past. You come to expect more of him?
Yeah, absolutely. And also he has become a much, much better bowler in the recent past. He varies his pace well, also bowls that undercutter which goes away from the left-hander. And he has good height, so he's never too full to a batsman. He's always bowling those good lengths. I think he should have definitely bowled in the power play today.
Right. When he did eventually come on, it was to instant impact. The 4 overs right after the power play is when Delhi saw the back of Narayan and Venkatesh Iyer and Ajinkya Rahane. And then when it came to Raghuvanshi and Rinku Singh, thoughts on that partnership?
I think you would expect probably the Raghuvanshi to bat a little higher, strike rate wise. He finished with a 137, having played 35 deliveries, I think, 32.
44 of 30.
You would probably expect him to, get 50 plus, 55 around. That's where you would feel that they've lost 10 runs there, considering they had Powell and Russell in the shade. So I would only talk about that. Otherwise, I thought he played really well, played some really good shot for a youngster. But when you've got such a big depth, you would want him to go at 150, 160 strike rate, I would say.
Yeah, 117 for 4 was it at the end of 10. The next 4 overs, didn't see a wicket lost, but went for 25 runs. when you're batting till 8, potentially 9 with Anukul Roy, do you need to be going harder in that phase?
I mean, it is quite tough to actually put it that way because as a middle order batsman, you would like to bring about a little bit of stability when you have lost 3 quick wickets. So it is very, very important to get a platform done, which was already there, but they just, it just got ruined by those 3 wickets. So I feel they have done a decent enough job. You can't be too harsh because their batting has not been that great if you look at the past games. So there's not much confidence in the dugout as well. So I think they have done a very, very good job today.
I think that partnership, what it shows us that Raghuvanshi is an option for opening the batting too. With his skill, his talent, his ability to play pace and spin. It's something that KKR should consider. I mean, don't be too predictable in what they offer with the bat and their batting order. And again, you look at the other sides in this IPL, Shubman Gill, Sai Sudarshan, guys who are quality classical players. You still have to realize that this is the Indian Premier League. It's a domestic league that is supposed to also develop the young Indian players. So with a talent like Raghuvanshi, I would love to see him get a full 20 overs and him start thinking about scoring, 140 balls, 45 balls. That is where I'd like to see him develop as a talent.
Weigh in on that, Wasim. Raghuvanshi's ideal batting position.
Well, I think since KKR is reluctant to let go of Sunil Narayan, so it will be only be number 3. It depends if the openers play the power play, then you will probably delay his entry point up until maybe he won't bat. But if any wicket fell, you would expect him to go at number 3. But after the power play, I feel it's Ajinkya Rahane and then Venkatesh Iyer and so on. But I think today, considering the situation, he batted well. Only thing is his strike rate should have improved after those 25 deliveries. That's where I feel they have lost those 10-15 runs.
Word on Rinku Singh as well. He finishes with 36 of 25. It's the first time this season he's batted 20 balls.
I mean, see, as a batsman, you need a lot of confidence. And when you have form, so you start picking your areas, your shots that much more easily. Today we have seen a little bit of struggle, little bit of double-mindedness, if you can say that, in Rinku Singh's batting. He wanted to step out a few balls, he wanted to stay in the crease and hit. So, every batsman goes through that little phase in a season where you're trying to get your confidence and your form back. I think this was that sort of an innings for Rinku Singh, and I feel they all have actually batted quite decently given the conditions, given the opposition having such good experienced bowling. So I feel all in all, Rinku has also done a very good job.
I also feel an important point here. We've had former players, coaches in the IPL. One of the things to take into consideration is these games come thick and fast, where you very rarely have the opportunity as a batter, if you're batting middle lower order, to get some sort of rhythm and game time if you're not getting a lot of balls to bat. So I feel from a tactical point of view, coaches need to consider that and consider the dearth of deliveries for your middle to lower order, and even let that be the rationale for having guys get a little more game time, impact the game a little bit more, because I feel if you don't do that, it makes it much more challenging for a batter like Rinku Singh. We're 3/4 into the season, he's not had a significant impact. We know of his potential and ability, and you don't want a season to go on for so long without using the resources that you have. And I feel that is something that has to happen, especially in the modern T20 game and in a league like the IPL.
It's interesting because you could have raised the same point about Rinku Singh last season as well. He batted even fewer balls. I think it was 120 balls he batted all season. It's okay when you're winning. Covers up for a lot of things in a season where things aren't working.
Yeah, I mean, when you're winning, everything gets covered up. Ramandeep didn't bat it at all. I remember last season in a chase. But when you're losing, all this, the analysts, they work overtime. So, yeah, I mean, there's an argument, but I would say that, because of Rinku, Kuldeep didn't finish his 4 overs. He took him on, and because they play in the same state, he knew how Kuldeep operates, and that was a smart play from Rinku.
Yeah, in that 36 of 25, I think it was 22 of 11 against Kuldeep. And Kuldeep Yadav, as a result, for the first time this season, did not complete his quota. Right, we're almost ready for the chase. Vaibhav Arora has come on as impact sub in place of Venkatesh Iyer for KKR. We see Porel and Faf du Plessis. And very interestingly, we see Anukul Roy with the new ball. Rayudu, you're excited.
I'm so happy. because this is the first time that we are seeing spin in a power play. No, not the ideal start, but definitely this is something that will happen going into May when the wickets start slowing up.
And I think this sort of strengthens our argument by the opposition starting with spin, recognizing that it probably was a little bit of a faux pas on the part of DC not to use spin in that power play.
All right, let's tuck into predictions. You have the benefit of having seen the first ball hit for 4, as you did in the first innings. Which way is this going, Mr. Jaffer?
I'll probably back KKR to defend this. I think they'll be disappointed if they don't defend this with the kind of bowling they've got.
I can inform you, forecaster agrees with you to the extent of 64% KKR. And now Ambati Rayudu has the benefit of having seen a wicket fall. What does that do?
I predicted after the
Before the
Yes. Extra points to you eventually.
No, I have to go with my senior and my big brother. So Wasim bhai.
So that's 2
Yeah,
votes for
KKR.
KKR. DG, are you with DC?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting KKR to get so far in terms of that score, but with a 200 plus score, I think knowing what has happened in that first 20 overs, I think their think tank is smart enough to make use of that information and make better informed decision bowling wise. So I'll go KKR.
All right, so 3 votes to KKR. Let's see how that pans out for our panel. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Look forward to your company one last time. We will pick up the conversation at the end of this chase, whichever way it goes. Such an important game for both these sides. Delhi don't want to be slipping out of that top 4 that they've been part of for most of the season. KKR know they have to effectively win most of their games to stand a chance of making it to the playoffs. So be sure to join us at the end of the chase on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.